let's open the meeting with 36 Windmill Lane. That's on the agenda, but I think we're done with that, correct?
Yeah, that's
Everything's been signed and we're good to
The
go.
decision's been submitted and signed, yes, and
So
filed.
we don't need to adjourn or do anything on that one, correct? It's,
Yep, if the decision is filed,
it's-
then we're all set.
exactly, and everything's signed, okay. Let's move on to Connemara. John, that's you.
Yeah, the decision
John
is
Bennett.
submitted for your signature.
I was expecting a decision.
Yeah,
Okay,
and I
thank-
have a copy for you, John.
Hello, everybody. Hope you all had a great 4th. It was a beautiful weekend.
I think it's on your, it's out.
Yeah, everyone's seen the decision,
Yep.
right?
Everyone got the email? Everybody
Everyone's
reviewed it?
read it, there were no
Yeah, that's
comments,
fine.
so I'm going to put it to a vote.
I'll move that we approve it.
A second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, there you go, John.
The ayes have it.
The ayes have it. I'm going to move on to the public hearing section. The first one on the agenda is RRFACF LLC, which is the Fowler Farm application. The board is still waiting for the SECRA report to be issued, and until that report is issued and the board has had an opportunity to read that, it doesn't really make any sense to discuss it. There's nothing to discuss. So I was going to adjourn it to July 22nd, but I'm happy to hear any comments.
Mr. Chairman, I think the 21st is your next meeting?
21st, I'm
Okay.
sorry, thank you. I keep having,
For applicant, we have no objection.
okay.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. It's not that I don't like doing homework over the 4th of July weekend that brings me to the podium, but I would appreciate it in the future. This is the second time we've had an adjournment without any prior notice. We have a big team here. They come from all over Long Island, and I would have appreciated a little bit of a heads up, since I think it was probably apparent that you weren't going to have the secret memo that you wanted from H2M. And I wanted to say that about the homework, because for me, it's not as long a ride, but one member of our team has a very sick spouse that she is involved with caring for, and she put that on hold to be here. So for her, and for the other attorneys who do come from further away than I do, I would very much appreciate it if the board would make every effort to let us know a little in advance, and it would make the next holiday easier, but it's for the personal reason that I mentioned, that I think it was worth getting up and
Yeah,
saying
completely
something.
understand, and I apologize for that. I thought we were going to have something before everyone
Okay.
disappeared for the long weekend, but it didn't get done or circulated, and I agree, you should have gotten notice this
Okay.
morning, because when that didn't get circulated prior to Thursday close of business, you know, that's when we
It
knew
should have been,
we
yeah, it
had
would have
to.
helped, it would have helped our
Sorry for
office.
that, we'll do a better job
Okay,
in the
thank you very
future.
much, I appreciate that.
So the July 21st, motion to adjourn, sorry, is there anyone else that wants to speak on this one?
Comment on this as well. Thank you, Chairman. Appreciate it. Tiffany Fergenti, co-counsel to Mr. Bregman. But I actually got an email earlier today at 12:30 from Mr. Wallach rejecting my submission because it was 30 minutes late. But notably absent from that correspondence was any notification that this would be adjourned. Again, obviously, I don't want to belabor the point, but this is the second time we've come, and, you know, we all prepare, and I had arrangements today that I, had to reschedule. That being said, I guess I just want to understand, will there be an opportunity for us to review the SECRA memo in advance of the next meeting and comment on SECRA further, because it's unclear as to what the procedure is going to be at this point?
Yeah, I think we'd all like to review that secret memo, so as soon as it's available, it'll be part of the file, and, our hope is to provide people at least a week to get that, review it, make comments, do whatever. So I can't promise that you'll have it by the 14th, but it's our intention to have it
But
in the
certainly
file,
okay.
circulated by the 14th.
And we'd have an opportunity to comment with respect to SECRA at the next public meeting?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you
Right.
for the
Yeah, the public
confirmation.
hearing's still open.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
So, motion to adjourn the RRFACF application to our July 21st.
So moved.
Second, All in favor? Thank you. Okay. Again, I'm sorry that you guys didn't get the message until late.
I thought you were hearing it. I thought your phone call first, I thought you were hearing it. This is late breaking news.
Somebody else didn't get the memo. Next on the agenda, next on the agenda is Village of Southampton Diamond Communications, 25 Windmill Lane. So the public hearing on this is obviously still open. We're continuing this one. So.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Robert Gaudioso with the law firm of Snyder & Snyder on behalf of Diamond Communications.
Hello, my name is Tom Vineski. I'm Senior Vice President of Site Acquisition for Diamond Communications.
Mr. Chairman, I believe we were here about 2 months ago and you had a number of questions and asked us to do some additional homework, and I apologize it took us some time to get back to you, but we wanted to try and cross our T's and dot our I's. In that time, we did meet also with the Zoning Board and the Architectural Review Board, and we submitted a number of documents to you, which I'd like just to briefly outline. We submitted an alternative site and coverage gap analysis regarding 40 different alternative properties that Diamond had looked at in conjunction with the village. And we also showed all the different various coverage scenarios from those locations and the reason why we believe this site is the best location. We revised the structural letter. There was a typo regarding the height of the tower, and I believe H2M had picked that up last time. We also revised the simulation map with the corrected site location. Very significantly, we submitted the State Historic Preservation Office concurrence letter, concurring that there would be no adverse effect on historic properties, and we submitted our entire evaluation that we had originally submitted to SHPO. We submitted a couple different engineering memorandums. I know there was a question at a prior public hearing regarding the feasibility of Starlink services, and just to summarize that, basically for emergency communications, it's just not feasible for various technical reasons. But we submitted 2 different memos, one from Diamond's Chief Technical Officer, but also from IWT, which is the entity that works directly with your emergency service providers. As requested by the chairman, we did submit the additional visual renderings to show the compound and the fencing and the landscaping. I'd like to get back to that in a moment, because we also submitted a revised site plan, and we added some detail, but we also made some changes, so I want to outline those changes for you. On the plans, we detailed the compound and the elevation drawing a little bit better than we had the first time around. We showed 2 different types of fences. The first fence in the back of the parking lot, which basically screens the entire facility, is an 8-foot fence with black vinyl slats. We showed the details for the signs as requested. Behind that fence is the retaining wall. We're really not changing the elevation. We're basically just holding back the elevation that's there. On top of the wall, what we were able to do is lower the height of the fence, and we changed that fence to a 6-foot board-on-board wooden fence. And we lowered the height to 6 feet. And what we did is we showed landscaping both behind that fence, abutting the parking lot for the movie theater, but also in front of the fence. So if you were able to see behind the building to the back of the property, that landscaping would be both in front and in the back of the fence. So we surrounded the entire area with 21 evergreens. We included the retaining wall details, the sediment and erosion control details with the grading as requested by H2M, and we added the notes regarding any hazardous materials and compliance with noise codes. So those were the changes we made to the site plan, and what we did is we picked those changes up in the visual renderings. We added 4 additional renderings at the locations that I believe we discussed at the last meeting, being from the street in front of the fire department, just to the left looking up the driveway, further to the left, and then behind looking back from the parking lot. And we did submit those renderings along with a map showing where those viewpoints were taken. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to answer any question either you or the board may have.
Any questions? This end, any questions? Bill,
I
you
read
good?
the Starlink memo. It's quite dazzling.
Yeah, good. Appreciate you updating those. Obviously, landscaping sort of falls in that territory between ARB and fencing, ARB and planning board. So if you have to answer 2 sets of questions from two different boards. I'm sorry.
We appreciate that.
If there are no other questions, then thank you. I'm going to open it up for any other comments. All right, okay, yeah, thank you.
Your comment.
Anyone else would like to comment on the cell tower? Okay. I'm going to, so Lisa, you still have to do a memo on this one, right?
So I did a memo on their original submission. If
Yeah.
you'd like me to provide you an updated analysis of all the
Yeah, please.
updated plans that have now been submitted in totality, I can
Yeah,
that
please,
to you?
if you could update that memo with the latest
with the
information.
changes that were
And
added.
so I'm going to hold the hearing.
Yep. And I'll remind the board, this is a coordinated review, and the planning board is the lead agency for SECR.
So we'd like a seeker, advisory seeker opinion, seeker memo for next
For
meeting.
the next meeting, right? So I'm going to hold this open until our next meeting. Okay?
And if you can remind me, what stage were you with the ZBA?
So, good question. The next meeting, if we're on for the July 21st, would be ideal, because we're back in front of the ZBA for a continued public hearing in August, and the same with the ARB. So if it would be possible to have a secret determination in July, we would be able then to proceed with the other boards in August.
But you need variances from the zoning board for this, correct?
Which we can't get until this board makes a secret determination.
Correct, okay.
So the timing is good, actually.
Right, so we can make a secret determination, but we can't pass a resolution until the variances are granted. Right,
Yeah,
so-
what this board has done in the similar situations in the
Make
past,
subject to.
right, is you make the secret determination and kept the record open for the site plan review,
Yeah.
and then waited to issue that until you had
Exactly.
approval from the zoning board of
Right, so we're
appeals.
going to stick with that model on this one. Okay,
That's fine, and that way we don't get whipsawed in case there are any minor modifications, as
Exactly.
I think you suggested earlier.
exactly. Okay.
Great.
All right.
H2M, we'll deal with the secret.
So H2M is going to provide us with a secret
Review, yeah.
review and
Review.
also update their
Okay.
other review. And we'll
Some
discuss.
changes, but you're going to do secret
Correct,
soon.
correct, which all will be ready before the next meeting, and we'll move on this on the
Bastille
next.
Okay.
So, do I need a motion to?
A motion to, well, continue the public hearing
Yeah,
on June
continue.
21st?
Yeah.
Sorry, July 21st?
To continue.
Subject to getting,
Yeah, do you want
motion to continue, subject to getting review, time to review as promptly as possible the secret determination.
Correct. Second.
Pass a contingent
All in favor?
motion.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for your
gentlemen.
time this evening.
I think it actually just gets clipped in here. Just judging by the other ones.
All right, let's move on to 99 Sanford Place.
So this is the first public hearing on this, and I believe Jean has the affidavits of mailing and
Yes, all
posting?
in order.
This is
Okay, great,
Sanford.
so we're going to open
This
the
is
public
Sanford.
hearing.
Okay, Sanford.
Are the,
We are on Zoom, but the
They're not
TV
working
screens
tonight?
aren't working. So they're just going to ask you, you talk into the microphone.
Here it is.
So this is a public hearing for a sketch plan application for 99 Sanford Street, which, to orient you, is the land behind Schmidt's, directly, or the former
Red
Schmidt's.
Horse,
Yeah, Red Horse.
So I haven't been.
sign is up.
Okay. The property is located in an office district, and as I said, it's a residential subdivision, so we had to go to the zoning board to get approval to put residences there instead of offices. After much trial and tribulation, we recently got that approval So we're here to continue the subdivision process. Again, we started in 2022, had our trials and tribulations with the zoning board, and we're back again, hoping we can move through this now quickly, that we've reached an accommodation with the zoning board. It's pretty straightforward subdivision application. There are 2 lots. One lot's vacant, and a dwelling will be built on it. The other has currently an office, which was the Platt Law Office, for anybody who's familiar with the Platt family. And that building will be retrofitted into a residential structure. And this is a public hearing, so I'll sit down and let the public speak, unless there are any questions.
Thank you. Any comments? Michelle?
Hello, my name is Michel Brogard, 120 Stanford. I'm the only person in that dead end, which will eventually be made out of 4 residential units. And our house is exactly across the Platt's property, which will become Mr. Carlos's daughter's house. And I've spent time with Mr. Carlos and found him to be very reasonable. I think that having 4 residential homes is the best use in that dead end. And although I'm not looking forward to many years of constructions around me for 3 residential homes, the Platt's property retrofit, another residential next to it, and then 80 Sanford Place, which was recently purchased by another developer. So there'll be 3 construction sites right next to me for the next few years. But I support the subdivision, and I think it's the best use for the village, and I thank Mr. Carlos for being so reasonable. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments?
And council, the anciently, the fire department has signed off on everything.
Yes, yeah, they signed off in 2022.
I know that, but
Yes, they have.
it's always a moving target, as you know.
That was one of your requirements back then.
Okay, so
Board
that's
Member
solved.
McFarland, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So this one has been around for a while and pretty straightforward, I agree with you. We're at the sketch plan approval
Correct.
stage here. Why don't we move this forward? Can we approve the sketch plan tonight, or?
Well, I would want to hear from Lisa if she had any outstanding concerns, but what you could do is close the hearing and direct council to prepare a decision for review at the following meeting.
Perfect. Do you have any comments?
And did they officially classify it as a minor subdivision yet?
I think that would be part of the approval, is classification as a minor
Yeah,
subdivision.
I think we did it once, and then
It expired,
The
yeah.
zoning board pulled up their socks and did something totally different, so this is a replay.
All right, so I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing and direct Janine to prepare a memo for sketch plan approval.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next on the agenda is Brian Kelly, 2030 County Road 39.
Good afternoon. Matthew Henry, agent for Mr. Kelly. We are here for the 3rd time, in a good way. Our original submittal to you was met with not approval, but we were okay, given that you needed approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals. We presented to the Zoning Board of Appeals twice. Our first submittal was a good first pass. They asked us to double the buffer zone that was shown. We did that, along with any other split zone requirements that we had, which were office district and residential. That parking lot that is shown on the survey, which I know I can't show you on the screen,
Yeah.
the parking lot was built in residential. So what we requested was, can we have the OD split zone office district line moved so that we could encompass the parking lot in OD? That was approved unanimously, along with the buffer zone. When we came back last time, I think, again, we had another good pass, and we're here for our public hearing. The traffic division has been there. We shared a letter from you. It's a one-pager, which is always preferred. Their requirements will be met and be part of the package that we submit to the building department. The building department has certain paperwork that needs to go from them to traffic and Department of Public Works. And that package will be sent to them to make sure that they approve their work. Nelson Pope weighed in. They picked up that the dry well capacity would not be sufficient for water runoff. So that too will be implemented. That I have to say, we're not asking for a concession or any hardship, but that was a disappointment to the owner who had done everything he thought with the team that he did it with to comply. It didn't. He understands he has to open things up. It's going to get done. Along with the street work, the curb, the sidewalks, ADA compliant. Mr. Chairman, you had a question about signage, no left turn. They're on the survey. They'll be shown there, and so there'll be 2 at each curb cut, which again, the curb cuts and their dimensions, everything will be as per the site visit and inspection by Department of Public Works. So
This is Village or Suffolk? Have you talked to Suffolk County Transportation? Are they involved in this at all?
this is County of Suffolk, Department of Public Works.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yep, okay. Yep, all right.
So we think with our third time here, twice with zoning, again, part of the process, not a complaint. We think we've checked all the boxes. We think we've seen things through. The second go-rounds have been to enhance what we've submitted, to just do a little better and due diligence and on our part, and I think we're there.
Good. Okay. Questions from the board?
It's finally made it once.
Questions from anyone else in the room on this one?
The neighbors are happy.
Yeah. Do we want to update the memo on this one is old. Do we want to have Lisa update the memo on this one, or have you reviewed this one?
I have not reviewed this
Okay.
one.
What I'd like to propose is we close the public hearing tonight. Have you review this, right,
Okay.
in the meantime, and then bring it up at the next meeting for a vote?
Can they leave it open for to take input from a new?
We could do that.
Yeah,
too.
you may want it to keep it open, just in
Yeah.
case there's anything
All right.
outstanding or any documents that you
It's
want.
fine. So if that's okay, we'll leave it open.
Do I have a choice?
Not really. We'll leave
Thanks
it-
for
I mean, I
asking
think
if that's
we're gonna-
okay.
I mean,
You should have a
no.
choice.
But I think we're going to end up in the same place.
I think it's going to move in the right
Because
direction.
You
I
guys are
don't
working
think, given
on
any
this a
new
long
one.
time, and
Understood.
And
I
we've
understand.
talked
If
about it
it's- yep.
extensively,
Right.
right? And it looks like you've addressed everything that,
Yeah, but clearing it up with the neighbors, that was a bigger.
Neighbors are great.
That was
Last, at our first
great
meeting,
hurdle.
well, at our first meeting, we had someone who stated it was a very late one. This is zoning, and she wrote a nice letter for me to hand in to, I think I've shared it with the planning board as well. It was just a very simple, very crude, but approval letter of the neighbors that she has and what was being done. So even the neighbors have been supportive in that letter.
so because this one has been around a long time. I think it even predates me, but definitely not Alan on the board. Can we leave the hearing open? Have Janine prepare
Yeah.
the
Yeah, and if-
resolution,
correct.
and we'll get Lisa's report, and
Yeah,
then we can tie it
Absolutely.
all
And if
up
the
in a nice
report finds
package
there's
at the
nothing
next meeting.
outstanding, you can have that decision ready and close the hearing and adopt the resolution at the same meeting.
All right, do you want to
Yeah,
make that
makes
motion
sense.
for me, please?
That
What
makes
I just
sense.
said?
You want me to summarize it?
No, I just want to make a
Do
motion.
everything at once. Lisa will get it ready for us. We can all look at it,
Right,
and
Lisa,
we
will
can revise her work if necessary,
right,
and we'll do everything at once if we get it, a report from H2M. And I move that procedure
yep.
for the next hearing to be done by the next hearing.
And we're going to leave the hearing open
It's
until
open
then?
until the next
And we're going to
hearing.
direct Janine to
everything.
draft that
To do
resolution.
everything at once.
Can we
Right.
see a copy of that letter you said that you were pleased with? I don't think we've seen that. The one that-
You should have it from the last presentation, not the
Okay.
first, but the one we were at
Okay, so
about a month
that's-
ago, and of course,
Okay,
Yeah,
Alex,
it should be in there.
okay.
we exchanged.
Okay.
If you don't have it, it'll come to you
It's not
instantly.
tonight.
Yeah.
A second on Alan's motion?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Let's move on to 137 Cooper's Neck.
You have no screen, so do you want me to turn it towards you?
Please.
This is your Gimlet observation.
John Bennett, the applicant, Bennett Reed. The property that you're dealing with is 9.2 acres in size. It's located in the R120 zone and proposes a two-lot subdivision. And both of the resultant parcels will be more than conforming. One will be almost, they'll both be probably almost 80,000 square feet over the required zoning, at least. So, a sketch plan application was approved by this board in 2021 after a hearing. No adverse comments from the neighbors. A negative declaration was adopted by this board. The applicant has received approval from the Suffolk County Department of Health Services Bureau of Wastewater Management for this plan. And at the work session, I believe it was Mr. Dye raised, and I really want to thank him again for that, because it would have been a tough gotcha at the end of the process. Since the time this application was originally filed, the side yard setback minimum went from 30 to 35. The hard copy of it is going to be filed tomorrow with the board, but what we did was it's a very simple fix. We simply moved the lot line 5 feet.
The border change. You changed the border.
Yeah, we changed.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Thank you.
We moved the lot line 5 feet to the south, just so you can see that southerly lot line.
Good move.
Instead of 30, it's
Thank you.
35.
One of the best moves you've made in 2025.
Thank you. It was the easiest one. But that's good stuff. But again, the original, the hard copy will be filed tomorrow. So the modified map shows lot 1 at 205,395 and lot 2 at 196,536. Again, well over the 120,000 square feet minimum. H2M raised in its memo of June 2nd that upon subdivision there will be a pool and a pool house located on a parcel without a principal residence. That is correct. I wanted to refer the board to their decision in Cowles Associates, which is a property on the corner of Little Plains. It's the northwest corner of Little Plains in Gin, where there's a two-lot subdivision on the property was granted. I just want to read the approval, and we would simply request the same thing. This is the approval on Cowles, which I handled. The accessory swimming pool may remain in its present location or configuration so long as both parcels are controlled by individuals or organizations having a common ownership or control. Upon alienation of title out of common ownership, the parcel shall remove the owner shall remove the swimming pool and accessory equipment within 30 days of the sale. There's also, I think I mentioned it at the work session, what we know is Coaden, which I know for a while was, I think it was one of the Mortimer brothers, and then it was Ann Eisenhower's house. It's currently in different ownership, but those are 3 parcels, and the main house is a very grand house is in the middle, and there are accessory structures on the lots on either side. Similar covenant. So, of course, we would agree to enact such a covenant as a condition of approval. Again, it's a 2-lot subdivision of significantly oversized parcels, and both resultant parcels will be more than conforming of health department approval and negative declaration. I could be wrong. I checked the Dropbox. There didn't seem to be any negative comments. I would be surprised because these are 2 greatly oversized lots. There was no need for any other. We had health department approval, and there was no need for any other approval. There are some wetlands in the back, but there are freshwater wetlands, and unlike tidal wetlands, under the state law, no subdivision approval is required for freshwater wetlands if the property is adjacent to them. So we're ready to go, and we'd respectfully request, unless that you close the hearing, if there are no Comments, of course, after your comments.
Cal was a combination, and this is a separation.
Excuse me?
The only difference is Cal was a combination, you wanted to have grandfathered, and this is a separation.
No,
Otherwise,
Cal's was 2 lots that had merged,
I
and then we
understand.
wanted to break them apart.
That was, that, you wanted to break them apart.
Yes,
Yeah.
same as here.
They merged.
They had merged, yeah. And the zoning board of appeals granted relief on that because there were 2-acre lots in a 3-acre zone, but the neighborhood was consistent. But there was a pool on the westerly lot, and we agreed to that
I
covenant.
remember it well, even the neighbors that objected.
Oh, the neighbors did object, yes, they did.
I remember
Yes,
every
they
part.
did. They did object. Well,
I think this is routine.
The 150 setback from Cooper's Neck, is that on there, John?
it's 245 feet to the house on lot 1 and 407 to the house on lot 2. Hey, can you see it?
The pool house on lot 2, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about from Cooper's, it would be, I mean,
Cooper's Neck that way. Cooper's Neck. It's this
yeah,
way.
but the pond's down here.
This is the pond,
Yeah.
this is the road.
Oh, the setback?
Where's
Oh,
the
there's
setback
huge
between the
setbacks
pond
from
and the
pond,
pool
yeah,
house?
yeah. Oh, the pond and the pool house? It's well in excess of the 150.
I don't have a,
Gotta take the phragmites out.
And they exist.
is this a scale drawing?
No, this is a scale drawing.
This one? Yeah.
Not the one I handed up.
Do you want to measure it, or you want me to?
The setback to the rear property line?
From the top of Cooper's Neck Pond
From the top of Cooper's Neck.
to that pool.
Cooper's Pond.
Okay, it's not really shown as such. There's flood zone shown, but there's no...
The dotted line just above Cooper's Neck Pond there, isn't that the pond? It's got little waves.
Those are topographic lines and flood zone lines.
Flood zone lines. These are
The
little-
pond goes to the little.
I think right,
Yeah.
sort of an
Bottom.
island shaped one is Cooper's Neck Pond.
I know. Thank you, Amanda.
Plus or minus phragmites.
You basically have a rectangle that's 230 feet,
This is
another one that's
this is my bedroom line.
145.
This
You'd
is
have to
a
take the
architect's
diagonal.
scale, not an engineer's scale. Does anybody have an engineer's scale?
Yeah, you can actually do it mathematically.
Hannah, say that again, please.
You can do it mathematically. You have a rectangle. This is 240 something, I don't know, looks like 200 and something feet where the pool is. And this is 140 something feet. And to the lot line, you basically have a rectangle formed. So if you take the diagonal of that rectangle, it's going to be greater than either of those sides.
Just across.
Closest point?
So it's going to be greater than 230 feet, for sure.
So it's
It's just
definitely above,
mathematics,
it's definitely
you know.
above 150 then.
Oh, God, yes, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
actually 200.
Yep, all right.
I'm scaling.
Yeah.
I'm not scaling, no time.
Just get, that was advanced math right
That was
there.
impressive.
Just get,
It's before I became an attorney. I used to do this sort of thing.
just get the Marins to remove the phragmites. Just get the Marins to remove the phragmites.
We'll have to go to the ZBA for that, but I'm sure they wouldn't have
No.
a problem with it.
Yeah.
Done as a matter of
Thank
public
you.
health.
Are there any other comments on this application from the, yes, sir?
I'd like to understand.
Sorry, we just need you to come to the
Can you,
podium and introduce
Come to the
yourself.
podium and just for the record, tell us your name.
Hi, I'm Donald Calder.
Hi, Mr. Calder.
How you doing, John? I'd like to understand just what construction will occur on these parcels.
Well, right now, Mr. Calder, hi, Mr. Calder. Right now, there's nothing planned. This is, the Marins own the property to the south as well, the south of Lot 2. And there's no They've been actually been renting out the house, which is the old, I remember it as the Wallace House from many, many years ago. And the pool house is going to remain on lot number 2. I think this is just, I think, planning for offspring down the road. So I've been told.
So at this point, nothing's contemplated.
Not, and, you know, I haven't been told that, never say never, but the idea was that the property became available, the Marins own the property to the south, so they purchased this and are subdividing it into 2 lots. They've been renting out, again, on lot number 1, what I've known was for many years it was like the Wallace family, great beehives and back there and stuff, but I don't know who owned it before the Marins bought it, but yeah, this is pretty much a combination of estate planning and the ability to have a family compound. I'm not aware of any current plans to do anything with what's there. Again, I never say never.
Okay.
And you're familiar with what could go there if that changed, right? I mean, it'd be according to code, which...
Well, there's a house there on lot 1, and someone could build a house on lot 2. Someone could build a house on the subway. But they would have to be pretty far back. You're to the east.
What about the wetlands?
Yeah, you're to the east. Oh, no. And a house would have to be 150 feet from the wetlands. And if you're to the east, correct, Mr. Calder?
Right.
Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Calder. So it would have to be at a minimum of 150 feet from the wetlands back then.
And septic would be even further back.
200 for the septic.
Exactly, so. Okay, anything else? Good?
Thank you.
Yep. You're done. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
What do we need from, if anything, from H2M on this?
I don't think you need anything else from us at this point. I think the previous memo, that was the one issue that was raised was the need for potentially for some kind of covenant related to when the property, is developed, or it changes, similar to what Mr. Bennett just read out.
Okay.
I think so.
Alex, you're good to move forward on this?
Yeah, I think for a sketch plan, we would typically do secra when they make the application.
Exactly. So I'm going to suggest we close the public hearing and direct Janine to draft a resolution to approve the sketch plan.
This is the final. Yeah, this is the final.
We've already done
application.
that?
Yeah.
Where was
Isn't
I?
this the one where the sketch was expired?
Yeah, the sketch expired, but the board had agreed to accept the final because it already had, there were no changes, there was a neg deck, there was health department approval. You have a public hearing, you're having it now. There was no need why you shouldn't just go right to final.
All right, I'll close the public hearing.
Yeah,
We're going to
we
review
did a
that
waiver
and
on
just...
We did a waiver.
We did a waiver on the rest
We did?
last time.
Okay, all right. So we can go to final then?
That's
Does
where we
anybody
are
want to
now.
do a
Yeah.
preliminary, is everybody okay with that? A draft sketch?
So moved.
Okay. All in favor, so
Go to final.
the motion is close the public hearing, go to final, have Janine draft a resolution. Everybody good with that? Okay, second,
Include the covenant regarding the use of the pool and the...
as Alan articulated.
That would be condition of
Yeah,
approval.
exactly, as Alan
Prior
articulated, based
use
on
of-
the comp.
Right.
Based on the comp that,
There's
yeah, same
at
structure.
least 2 that I know of, Cowles and then I forget the name, who the owner at the time, it might have been even before Eisenhower.
Right, but the same approach, same
Same
structure.
thing.
Okay, second?
Second.
Thank, all in favor? Thank you.
Aye.
Okay. Thanks, John. 71 Hill Street.
So, good evening, members of the board. I guess should I join you guys up there? I don't know. Do we have another? No, you guys take those mics and I'll sit down. Okay?
Yeah.
Because you only have, because Lisa's using one and you guys will have them. So, when John and Scott are getting ready, we submitted the affidavits of mailing and posting to the village earlier. John and John Rose and Scott Rose are with me, as are the principals. So as the board's aware, we're proposing to demolish existing commercial buildings on this site and construct a new 2.5-story building with 40 resort hotel suites. In addition, one of the existing buildings fronting on Hill Street is proposed to be converted to 8 workforce housing. I guess, is that the Easterly building? That was?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So that's going to be 8 workforce housing. We've already been before the Board of Trustees. We granted special exception approval for the proposed uses on this very site plan on February 13th, 2025. And the Board of Trustees, after coordinated review, under secret had adopted a neg deck. And a copy of the Board of Trustees resolution, including the neg deck, was filed with the application. In addition, we have been before the Zoning Board of Appeals on last Thursday, July 3rd, 2025. The board granted relief in the following manner. They granted all the relief that we had requested, and since the Zoning Board of Appeals still has special exception approval authority, they granted the special exception for the pool. What they granted was our ability to have a building that takes up less than 90% of the frontage on the street, which makes sense on Main Street and Job's Lane and probably Nugent Street, but everyone agrees that's a village business regulation that doesn't really make sense on this lot. So the Zoning Board of Appeals granted approval, and they granted some other really minor relief, but what you see before you has all the relief from the Zoning Board of Appeals that is required. It also, we wanted to create 2 compact parking spaces, and just 2 of them, which are about 2 feet narrower than a standard space, and the board granted that. The ZBA granted that approval. So we filed the approval today, just so you have it in your file, the ZBA approval. We went to the Architectural Review Board on Monday, the 23rd. No one from the public spoke in opposition. And the public hearing was adjourned until July 28th, pending approvals from the ZBA. The ARB cannot technically act on a application where the proposed improvements do not comply in any aspect with the code. But now that the ZBA has granted all the relief necessary, the ARB will be able to act. So all the parking requirements are complied with. We have drainage prepared. There is a sewage treatment plant proposed. In response to comments raised by H2M, we will be providing an updated plan showing building code compliant pool fencing. And terracing around the pool will be surrounded by a 60-foot evergreen hedging to conceal the pool and provide a visual barrier to adjacent property. LaGuardia is circulating that. We just wanted to make sure that it was something that was consistent with the H2M memo, and we don't have that yet. There were 3 London plane trees on the property that are rather old. The property owner does not wish those to be cut down, so LaGuardia is proposing a very robust tree protection fencing to be maintained around the root zones during construction. This is a public hearing, so essentially we're here to see if the public has anything to say. However, Dee Dee Gottheld, one of the principals, does want to talk to you again about something that's a condition of the approval from the Board of Trustees, and something that we've been struggling with, and that's this cross-access thing. Dee Dee, and I know we would have to we're going to try to convince you to look at that, and we would have to go back to the trustees and get them to take that away, but we've really been talking to to our neighbors about it, most particularly the movie theater owners. And we've also been talking to a couple of insurance defense lawyers about liability, not only liability for what amounts to design, roadway and parking lot design that sets up a a dangerous situation. So I would ask you to listen to Dee Dee about it. She's, I'm going to say she's passionate about this issue, but she's also very intelligent about it, because we are very, very concerned about this cross-access issue. I read the case law. There's only one case, and in that case, as I've said to you before, what the court was dealing with was a situation where there was a strip mall, and the planning board with the construction, it was an upstate New York planning board, with the construction of new units in that strip mall was saying, we don't want everyone to have their own curb cut. This is a different situation. There are curb cuts now, no new curb cuts are being proposed, and as opposed to a right-of-way. I've represented plenty of people on the County Road 39 corridor, and we have, when the planning board in the town of Southampton has asked for alternate access along the back, since the attempt is to try to create access solely for back and forth between lots in the back in an area not, as would have here, bisecting parking lots. I've said to my clients, you know, you have an argument that the board has some overreach here, but, you know, if pushed, the municipality could win the argument. We'd just like you to have an open mind about that. Did you want to read your letter? I think it's very to the point, and the neighbor's letter.
Okay, thank you.
Is that okay?
Sure. Thank you very much. Dee Dee Gotthelf, representing 71 Hill Street, Southampton, New York. And I'm just going to read my letter, and I'm also going to read Jack Heller's letter, the CEO of the Playhouse, because this is something that you had asked us to explore together. Dear Chairman and members, at the June 2nd work session meeting of the board, you charged us to reach out to the owner of the adjacent parcel at 43 Hill Street to come to an agreement for a mutually acceptable location for a cross-vehicular easement between the two properties. We contacted Jack Heller, chairman of the board of directors of the Playhouse, the owner of 43 Hill Street, to discuss the proposed easement. His letter in response is attached here too. We and the Playhouse are in agreement. There is no physical connection between 43 and 71 Hill Street that can provide a physically safe vehicular connection between the two properties, in my opinion, and in their opinion. Section 116-14K of the Village Code provides that, in accordance with the 2022 Village Comprehensive Plan Update for the Village Business District and 11638B2, in order to eliminate multiple entrances and exits, reduce traffic hazards, gain a higher efficiency in vehicular and pedestrian circulation, conserve space, and to promote orderly development, shared parking facilities shall be provided between adjacent lots to serve a number of uses in such a manner as to obtain the maximum efficiency in parking and vehicular circulation, except where it is not physically feasible, with emphasis added. The effective result of opening a connection between 43 and 71 Hill Street will be to open a shortcut for traffic to avoid the traffic light at Hill Street and Windmill Lane. We know this is true because a prior opening between the two properties did just that. Because of the physical configuration of 43 and 71 Hill Street properties, the cars and trucks using that shortcut will necessarily wind through the parking areas of both properties, actually using the lanes needed for the patrons of those two properties to access their vehicles, both for parking and to walk to and from the business establishments. There is no physical way to segregate the shortcut traffic from the business patron parking access. The Village Code highlighted above states that one of the express objectives of such cross easements is to, quote, reduce traffic hazards. To provide an access between 43 and 71 Hill will substantially increase, not reduce, the traffic hazards to the patrons of 43 and 71 Hill. Substantial numbers of patrons and guests of both 43 and 71 Hill Street are families with young children. To access the theater or the hotel, children will be walking and running through the very areas that the short-cutting traffic will be using to avoid the Windmill Hills traffic light. Because the reason for using the shortcut is to save time, the shortcutters will, again, be traveling at speed. Again, this is not hypothetical. This is our actual experience when the connection was previously opened. Adding to the hazardous condition is the fact that there is a 4-foot grade change between the two properties, creating a visually obstructed condition at the very point of transitioning from one property to the other. There is no business purpose to opening the connection for either 43 or 71 Hill. Patrons of the movie theater will not drive to the hotel, we hope, after a performance, nor will the hotel guests drive to the movie theater to see a performance. They will walk, and we have provided for a pedestrian easement between the two properties. Section 116.14 of the Village Code provides that the reviewing board may waive the cross-access requirement upon making a finding on the record that cross-access is either not possible or not practical. We request that the planning board find that there is no possible or practical safe physical location where a vehicular cross easement between 43 and 71 Hill Street can be created, and that the requirement for such an easement is waived. And then I'm going to very quickly read through Jack Heller's letter, also, as you had requested. Dear Ms. Gotthelf, you have contacted me regarding the pending application of 71 Hill Street LLC before the Southampton Village Planning Board. I am Jack Heller, Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Playhouse, a 501c3 nonprofit organization located at 43 Hill Street, which partially abuts the property at 71 Hill Street. You advised that the Planning Board has directed you to contact us to explore a mutually acceptable location for vehicular cross easement between our two properties, as contemplated in Section 116-14K of the Village Code. As a family-focused nonprofit with a mission rooted in education, community engagement, and the arts, the Playhouse maintains year-round programming, events, and classes, many of which are specifically for children and families. Our parking lot is in constant use, and safety is a critical concern. At nearly all hours, guests are walking through the lot, loading and unloading children, and navigating to and from performances and activities. Allowing a vehicular cross easement would significantly compromise safety. The only discernible benefit of such an easement is to allow drivers to take a shortcut to avoid the traffic light at Windmill Lane and Hill Street. This is not a public necessity, but it's a convenience that would come at the cost of public safety on private property. In our experience and based on current patterns, vehicles already misuse our lot for this very purpose, entering from Windmill Lane and exiting onto Hill Street and vice versa at unmonitored speeds and with no regard for signage, pedestrian presence, or traffic safety. We have already had guests bring this to our attention. This is not me, this is Jack Heller from the Playhouse. Because the property is private and not subject to regular enforcement, this behavior has gone unchecked, and a formal easement would not sufficiently change that dynamic. If anything, it would legitimize unsafe driving in a setting intended for pedestrian and family use. We are deeply concerned that creating such an easement would invite liability and essentially set the stage for a serious accident. Additionally, any increase in traffic flow heightens the risk of congestion that could block our parking lanes and obstruct emergency vehicle access to designated fire lanes, areas that must always remain clear. The proposed easement provides no operational benefit to our organization, its patrons, or the Southampton community. On the contrary, it legitimizes real and unacceptable safety risks, undermines our charitable mission, and disrupts the safe and orderly use of our property and the village itself. For these reasons, we respectively and respectfully request that you share our concerns with the Planning Board and determined that they understand the real danger being proposed, and that there is no location where a vehicular easement between the two properties can be safely or appropriately situated. From Jack Heller. Thank you very much. Woo, sorry.
So, thank you, Dee Dee. So we give that to you for your consideration. I guess my question was whether or not you had any questions for John and Scott or for me in terms of what you have before you. And this has all been approved by the Zoning Board of Appeals, it's all been approved by the trustees, of course, we're before you for the site plan review. For some reason, the village code still has the special exception for the pool with the ZBA, but they granted that relief. And yes, if you have any questions, we're here to answer them.
Anyone?
Where exactly is the pool?
Oh, John.
Is it over
It's
here?
on the north end. It would not show up in that perspective.
It wouldn't, okay,
It's in the north end of the property.
all right.
Have these elevations been submitted to the planning board? I couldn't find them in the file.
These renderings have not been submitted.
Okay.
Any other?
These were prepared for the architectural review board, though, Alex, so they're in the file.
They're the same as the elevations that are in your package.
Same as the elevations.
Same.
We thought it was easier.
Do we only have east and west elevations? Is there a north-south?
We have all four elevations.
But I didn't,
Not
that's
in
not
this
in,
perspective.
not in the
Not
file. Okay. Yeah, we need to get that in.
Okay.
Okay?
Sure.
Please.
John, that's not a problem.
Oh, we do.
Any other questions? Down here?
No.
No, this is a public hearing for the public.
Yeah, we're going to get to
We
that.
still have to, you could close it, but we still have a lot of stuff to run through with you in the various hearings.
Understood. The part that I'm unclear on, that I don't understand, is exactly what's happening to the two the buildings that are not being demolished. And if you could go into a little bit more detail.
Just overall conceptually,
Yeah.
the easterly one is being converted in full to.
John, use the microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. The easterly. I apologize. The easterly building is being converted to 8 workforce housing units, subject to restrictions on rent, and the westerly building is going to be continue as it is, which is a village business commercial building, and the clock tower is coming down.
Correct, okay. And then there's a walkway in between those two buildings. What's the plan? So nothing, no construction, new construction's being done to the westerly building other than removing the clock tower?
Maybe a facade change. I don't know, John.
We'll be moving some windows, minor things like that, but the
But no, the footprint stays the same. And then that walkway with the stairs stays as is, or is there work being
Walkway
done to
will
that?
get updated where it is to meet code, but actually, we're going to eliminate some of the brick patios to increase the green space, but that actual initial steps from Hill Street in between the buildings will remain.
Okay, all right. Lisa, you had some questions or things you wanted to see added to the site plan as well to facilitate an H2M review.
Yeah, I mean, I think that my previous memo, I don't think there's been any of these details have been updated since then. I think that there was some question about, and you can make your determination regarding the vehicle access. So I haven't, the civil engineer has not done a review of the site plan from like a drainage, et cetera, perspective yet. Specifically, I was waiting on a determination of where the cross-access was going to go, as it was a requirement of the Board of Trustees decision. And there were some additional items within that I thought in the updated version of the site plan would be included so that we could have the full review from that perspective. But I think that the issue they're raising about the two-way, the vehicle access that's part of that Board of Trustees decision is the rest is going to be potentially changed based on that determination. So.
Understood.
And as this board knows, Mr. Bent mentioned that was a condition of the special permit of this use, which is a Board of Trustees.
Yeah, we'd have to
special
go back to
permit.
them as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the site plan couldn't continue unless that were.
Get to that in a second. What I'd like to do is open it up to any public comment, right? And then come back to address your letters. Okay, any public comment on this? Okay, that was quick. Any questions from board members regarding the cross-access?
Yes. Currently, is there cross-access currently?
No.
Okay. So,
I mean, there was.
There's a driveway, but it's chained.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
That's
that-
the more correct
but-
answer. Yeah.
if the chain is taken down or broken, there is cross-access currently.
Well, I'm not trying to be pedantic about this, but as a lawyer, when somebody says cross-access to me, I don't think physical cross-access. I think a cross-access that is embedded in the county clerk's office in agreements between the property owners. So there is no legal cross-access there now. And we've stopped it because it has been, to say problematic would be minimizing it.
Okay, so it would seem to me that if it is currently stopped by a chain,
Mm-hmm.
that there should be no cross-access.
Well, we would agree with you wholeheartedly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
you know, that's
I
my
mean, I mean,
immediate thought.
Again, it's been a tough. I understand fully a municipality's desire to get cross-access agreements in the majority of cases, because, and I've said this to clients of mine all up and down the East Coast, the East End, because what it does is it takes cars off the street for a while, and where the development is going to create additional curb cuts. But that's not what's happening here, number one. And number two, I did, at one of the meetings, bring in some typical, what I think are commonsensical cross-access examples, one of which is the buildings that start, the complex of buildings that start just east, I should say, of the intersection of Flying Point Road and Hampton Road. And if you drive to the very southerly part of that whole complex, there is one interrupted cross-access road, in effect, at the very south, I should say, south of all of those multiple properties. And that makes sense because you're not weaving through parking lots. You're just on that road and you turn into one parking lot and come out and turn into the next parking lot and come out. Here, you're really creating a sort of a frightful situation, particularly given the movie theater use and which is heavily pedestrianized in effect. So we're very concerned about it. But again, we understand that we would have to convince the trustees as well of this. But
So I had a question. What about traffic access to Hill Street from this development? Is there going to be considerably more traffic cars trying to get on Hill Street from this development than currently exists, and perhaps they're looking at cross-access as a way to mitigate that problem?
Actually, if there was a traffic study that was commissioned by the trustees. We didn't pay for it, we didn't submit it, but one of the findings of that traffic study was that in comparison to the existing uses, which are village business uses, given their study of it, and some of it is done with trip generation, trip counting, but a lot of it is done by these things called these ITE. Alex, you know better than I might be messing with the acronym. It's these manuals, which you can see based upon the square footage of a particular use how much traffic is generated. But that report that was bought and paid for by the trustees and was rolled into their special exception trustee approval found that this use would result in a reduction of trip generation.
From just to be clear,
not only from existing, but from potential.
Just to be clear on that, that report said this use would would account for less traffic than if it were an alternative occupied commercial use like businesses. Did not imply that there would be less traffic than there is today coming out.
But that's the way all of every single traffic report that I've ever seen. You have to compare
to potential.
Understood, but what I'm saying is that doesn't really address my question, which is additional traffic coming on Hill Street with just one way. I mean, I don't know how that's going to work. You know, they turn right or left. Hill Street constantly has traffic, and that's a very busy intersection. So I'm just saying perhaps somebody thinks it's a good idea that there be another access to the property.
I believe that was contemplated in the study as a potential mitigation.
Yeah, I mean, the mitigation, no, understand, just, that you have two ways out of this hotel development.
Where would you put it?
Viridian Way plus the cross-access.
The cross-access, right.
There are two ways to, if you're staying at in one of the new rooms, there are two ways to get out. One is exiting from Viridian Way onto Hill Street, and the other would be the cross-access back path.
Through a heavily traveled movie theater parking lot.
Well, it'd be the movie theater and then down the hill
Down
back by
past
the
the-
firehouse and
Right.
off onto Windmill Lane, yeah.
I
But
think
that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm just curious if that was something they'd considered, and that's something that you haven't really addressed, if that's what they considered.
I understand. My argument would be that even if this did result in a somewhat incremental increase in the traffic, the public safety concerns would greatly outweigh that.
I have a question as to our ability at this point to, since it was a condition, to revisit this, because I am very concerned about the dangers of this vehicular cross easement. To me, I can't even imagine it being safely done. So where are we now that we are able to look at this, perhaps site visit, really understand, and can we put the brakes on it?
We'd have to go back to the trustees, because it's unequivocal that there is a condition in the trustee approval. But candidly, we'd like the benefit of your thinking on it.
Do you have anything to say? I know you're a cross-access,
I've used
strong opinion person.
I've used the cross-access, I don't think it's for 60 years. I've used this cross-access for at least 55 years that I can count, and I've used it a lot.
You've been trespassing, Alan.
And I used it a lot when God moved our building department to one of these offices next to the Porter Bibb getting the radio station back there, next to a restaurant that was a little used. And I used to go to the building department a lot to gossip with the building inspector a lot. I like to talk about events of 1962 and 3 in the village and his youth and his friends. And I used to, it was a great way to get there. It is one of the stupidest ideas the trustees have ever embraced. If I've told a bunch of them that they're nuts, but they don't listen to me ever. I don't want them to. But it's nuts. It's a stupid idea which has a life of its own for these thoughts.
Don't sugarcoat it. Tell us how you really feel.
The land is terrible.
Yeah.
It's at least 4 feet. I think it's cautious that it's 4 feet. It's nuts.
To be
And
fair,
I've opined publicly to that effect for about 3 years ago. I've said again, the trustees are crazy when they review it. It keeps this project kit as a new life of the trustees. It's a stupid idea.
Okay.
The taxpayers don't like it, and anyone who uses it is dealing with another trustee problem that I can't get with ways making Hill Street only one of 3 ways off of this little island that we all live on. Period. It's a stupid idea. If the rest of this stuff is subject to debate and differences of opinion, this one is a dumb one. End of speech. You know, and you've been supporting the village trustees. You've looked at every issue. They were going to maybe do one down into, if they could get rid of the damn phone company and take it out the back, so do a back exit.
They're not selling.
Nice. I'll like it if it goes into the phone company.
And I think it predates you, but the driveway that exists here between the properties was a requirement of this board with the original site plan approval of the commercial buildings.
No, it was the only cross-access, I'm going to correct you with that, Alex. The only cross-access requirement that you can find is when, I call it the La Caressa building, if I may, I'm sorry. They came in for a parking lot variance, and as a condition of the parking lot variance, the owners of that building had to give access to the movie theater parking lot. But that's the only.
Okay, look, you want to hear everyone's view on this. I have a much different view. At a high level, the planning board and the trustees have said from very early on in this, cross-access was a critical aspect of our consideration here, number one. Number two, cross-access is a basic concept in community planning. It's used everywhere all the time, right? So that if, number three, if people are using it as they're only going to use it as a shortcut if it saves them time. And the way Hill Street and Windmill Lane traffic is these days, cutting through the back way there is not going to save you very much time. Number four, you cannot plan based on illegal or bad behavior. That's a different department. If people are acting badly or illegally, that's an issue for the police department, right? And they should be dealing with this, not the planning board in its approval or yes or no on cross-access. And lastly, if there are safety concerns should be addressed, or at least attempted to be addressed, in the design of the cross-access. So we've heard lots about, oh, it's not safe, it's going to be bad, it's not going to work. But we haven't heard anything about, well, let's try and come up with a design that addresses the safety concerns that you mentioned in your letter, right? And I think only then could you really seriously consider whether safety, you can design to make it safe or it's impossible. And at that point, you can discuss whether or not the planning board is going to waive cross-access.
Well, let me land
here. So I'm not in. First, you got to get the trustees to reverse on this one. Good luck.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
second, you've got to get a majority of the board to agree that cross-access is not necessary. We already know where Alan's coming out on that one. I would have to be convinced that there is no way to design around the safety concerns, whatever safety concerns are legitimately identified. And number two, that the illegal or bad behavior isn't an issue for the police department and enforcement. I'll stop there.
I just wanted to, on two of your comments, and then I think John has something to say. I'm sorry.
As an attorney, it's not the police department, it's the village code, okay? So the village would have to alter their code.
Sorry, code. It would be a code enforcement issue, right?
Just a couple of things, and then John wants to say something. First of all, I was quite candid in admitting that in many, many, many instances, I have counseled developers of commercial properties to just accede to the cross-access request where it made sense. But the cross-access, as again, it has to make sense and be safe, and it has to provide for the purposes for which cross-access has been allowed, and it's this Portchester case. And in that case, again, I can only ask people to read it, but the only way, and by the way, they sent the second department sent the case back to the lower court and that planning board for further findings. They said there was a constitutional concern, but even moreover, they got past the constitutional concern only because they were reducing the number of curb cuts. So I don't think this type of cross-access, which generally speaking is a wise tool, is what was contemplated by the enabling legislation and the case law that buttresses it, number one. And number two, unfortunately, now you have a, fortunately or not, it is what it is, the parking situation at the movie theater is set up. So I'm sort of racking my brain trying to figure out how, once you introduce traffic into those established parking aisles, and again, they have their site plan approval, you would make it safe. John, you had some thoughts.
They have site plan approval, but the cross-access was held over on that site plan approval.
Yeah,
So
but
they
they didn't,
striped
I don't think you
without-
retained the ability to rejigger their parking lot.
But they
anyway.
striped without, remembering that. So, they would have to restripe.
If I could address two of your points.
Let me just,
One
because
of
I
which-
left, before you start, I left one out. The last item, which I want to get out on the table, is that there's a lot of stuff going on to the north of the movie theater and the Southampton Inn that has potential for development, and, you could go a lot of different directions on that, and I think as a planning board, it's incumbent upon us to retain maximum flexibility to allow for, future development, future planning in the context of alleviating traffic problems throughout the village. And shutting off cross-access for is not something that I'm prepared to do this early on in that evolution. So,
If I could answer a couple of your questions. At one of the trustee meetings, the chief of police attended, and I asked her point blank, can you police this? And her answer was basically no, number one. Number two, the topography as you head north is much more extreme. We looked at creating some type of, I hate to use the word runway, but that in essence is what it probably will be. And there's an extreme topography. The ramp would be substantial. Anything's possible, but it's certainly not simple. Number three, Alan, unlike you going to the building department as a young man, I used to cut through there to avoid the light. So it used to be done all the time. I did it. I'm not particularly proud of that. But I think it's a safety issue. It really is a safety issue. And all of us are opening ourselves up to problems.
We also did take into consideration the possible safest route on our side, which was to move that cross-access as far south as possible, which is where we had proposed. That was the opposite of the movie theater. They wanted it as far north to get it away from their back doors.
I remember.
Where people are entering
Yeah,
and
I
exiting.
remember.
Oh, yeah.
So we did make that attempt,
Yeah,
but
no,
we
I
could not.
remember that, but that got in the way of their, that restaurant that they're
That as well.
Yeah,
thinking of
I,
opening
I,
there.
I think a testament to how strongly we feel about the danger of this from liability point of view, village liability point of view, is that, this is holding things up a bit. So, we'd be probably a bit more merrily on our way if this wasn't an issue. But we're concerned as a real problem. And it's hard because as planners, I fully embrace the fact that you want to be able to provide the potential for cross-access, but it just doesn't. It doesn't work in a safe manner because of the nature of the uses here. So we just want you to take a look at that.
But appreciate you bringing it up. This has been one of the, frankly, critical issues or critical stepping, blocks in this application. And, this topic specifically, we've been addressing since the very beginning. So I thank you for your comments. We want to be good listeners. We want to let everyone, we want to hear what you have to say, and I think it's good for you to hear the views of the board, and then we can try and find a solution.
But
for
I would
this to
ask,
move
this has
forward.
been through 4 hearings before the planning board, before the trustees. We've had formal hearing before the ARB, and now a hearing before the ARB, and we've had the Zoning Board of Appeals hearing. In none of those hearings, all which were well publicized and properly noticed, was there any negative comment. The only comment that was made was a desire by some members, or one of the members of the Southampton Association, for the trustees to consider opening up Viridian to, what is that, Cooper's Farm Road?
Yeah.
And I just reminded everybody that the last time that was suggested, there were, I think, pitchforks and and pikes. But I would ask you, remember, the purpose of the public hearing is for the public to speak. We have some work to do on this, but I would ask you to close the public hearing. All that stuff can be worked out in subsequent meetings.
Okay, any other public comment on this one? I'm going to leave the public hearing open on this until we hear back from you, and you've gotten all the information that you've requested and updated the memo, and we've heard from your engineers on this one. And then once we have that, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm just wondering what you're directing the applicant to do in terms of what they're, because are we working with the plan as submitted with maybe some of the modifications? I think what was brought in today is a new version, a slightly updated version maybe. I know you said something about having information about the trees and things in there that were not yet submitted to that at least I've not seen. Or is there, I just want to know if we're reviewing exactly what's in there currently, or if there's, if you're looking for updated information.
I want a review of all the latest information, right? Not the old information. I want current information, right?
This also would have to go back to the trustees if they're going to proceed in this manner.
Review it assuming the public access. Review it. And again, it's not parking, coordinated parking. It's coordinated access. But you should review it as it has been filed, which has coordinated access. And we're going to try to, in the interim, to convince the trustees to do something. And we'll have to go through an amendment process, but there's no reason why you shouldn't continue the review process as it's submitted.
Yes.
And then what we're going to do is, I think, Chris LaGuardia's team has some additional tweaks to the landscape plan, and we'll get that to you pretty quickly. It's just additional help around the pool and protection for some of those. I think there's 3 London plane trees there that Dee Dee is in particular very concerned about protecting during construction. So we'll show you construction methodology for that. But you should just review what you have in front of you as supplemented by the landscape plan.
Yep.
We are before we filed with the, I think it's Peter Iglesia working, who's working for us with the septic, the sewage treatment plant? Nelson Pope is working that out with the health department. We have provided an area for the sewage treatment plant that complies with all required Suffolk County Health Department setbacks.
And that's on the site plan.
The area for it, sure. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So I'm confused. At our last meeting, you asked for
I wasn't clear where leaching for that was going, so that I
said
could.
none of your business, and
so we
I
could
wanna get to the
determine
bottom of
how
it.
the drainage is affected in the site, so that it's clear that, so they just, again, they should just be consistent. If the health department's approved a plan, then showing where that is so that we can evaluate that, and evaluate from
Well,
the engineers.
I have to be extremely, extremely firm about this. I am not going to wait for site plan approval until there is an approved sewage treatment plan.
no, we're
There's
not
nothing
asking
in
you
the
to
code
do
that
that. We're
says
just
that.
asking you to show where it is so she can do her evaluation.
Lisa keeps on talking about
Is
an
everything,
approved
time
plan.
out, is there everything?
Sorry,
on
I
there?
thought you just said you had an approved plan.
not say that.
I thought
No,
that's
no,
what
no.
you just
I
said.
did
So
not
I
say
was
that.
saying, oh, that's great.
No, I did not say that. I did not say that. It
Lisa,
never came out
do
of
you
my
have
mouth.
what you need for your
I believe there was
engineers?
some, and I'll get another memo together with the information we need to evaluate effectively, like to make sure that, and we'll evaluate what you've submitted. I provided my initial comments on the additional information I thought would be necessary for a full review, but we'll get another memo together with, on the plan that was submitted. I assumed that there would be cross-access provided because it was a condition of approval. I thought that would change the curb cuts and
We
potentially
talked
the
about that.
drainage. But if this is if the plan is what was previously submitted and that's what we want evaluated, that's what we'll provide comment letter.
Septic plan, the sewage plan.
Well, there,
So I'm not clear. Is that plan what you submitted to Suffolk Health, part of in the file or not?
No, because it's not, that's a long process. It
Yeah,
has
but
to.
you've submitted them a plan. I mean, you have a design.
Yeah,
right?
but
What do you
it's
hi-
not
I mean-
approved. It's not approved, and it won't be approved for a while. There's the back and forth between the health department and Nelson Pope on this is interminable. What we have done is we have provided a location, as I've done on every one of these projects that I've been involved with a sewage treatment plant. We have provided a location that will meet the required setback requirements for sewage treatment plants that are imposed by the health department.
And does that sewage treatment plan use leaching fields?
Sure.
And are those shown on the site plan?
The area is shown for them, but we haven't shown the leaching fields because
So
those
the
are
leaching
subject,
field-
because they're gonna change.
So the leaching field everything will be within that area that you have designated?
Everything will be
as-
within that area. Every single thing. And the leaching fields, the scheme may change based upon what the engineers at the health department tell us.
I understand that, John.
So I'll present to the engineers. They
Yeah,
can
okay.
evaluate.
If everything is within that designated
Oh,
area,
absolutely.
I think we're good.
That's all. That's all.
All right.
Put the leaching fields in the parking lot and raise it 5 feet.
Yeah, well, I thought you were going to say put it in a cross-access area.
Cross-access is easy.
That
Every
would be-
parking lot is raised 5 feet. And the taxpayers pay for it.
Anything else from board members? Okay.
Thanks for your time.
So,
Well, I want you to close it, but.
yeah, but we're not going to do that. So.
Just by thinking on that, remember, I just want to make sure that the public hearing, the purpose for a public hearing is for public input. We've had 4 hearings before the trustees, 2 hearings before the ARB, a hearing before the Zoning Board of Appeals, and no one has come up. So people have public hearings, municipalities and boards have public hearings, and then we know there's a lot of sausage still to be made after those public hearings.
Thank you.
All I can do is ask.
I've understood your request, and I hear your request. So can I have a motion to continue this public hearing over to our next meeting, and then we will also get an updated report from you, and then we can evaluate that and move forward.
So
Okay?
moved.
All right.
Move.
Second? Yeah, thank
Move.
you. All in
Second.
favor, please.
Aye.
Thank you.
The ayes have it.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Nice to, happy 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th.
So,
Nice to see you.
865 Merrick is held over to September 15th,
Yep, that's correct.
right? And then 74 White Street.
I have not
What's
heard
going
from
on?
the applicant on that one. I assume that they are not here. I understand they are having difficulties with the health department getting the necessary
That's the
approvals.
doctor's office?
Correct, yeah,
Okay.
that wants to do the 2-family house there.
On the corner next to the
That
elementary.
might make sense to adjourn to a further date. Yeah.
You want to do it this year? Do you want to, let's adjourn that to a specific date so we don't have to keep making motions on that one, okay?
Do we have a date scheduled past August 18th? That's the last one that's noticed on the agenda. Oh, well, we could, there's the other one that's adjourned to
September
September
15th.
15th. Do you want to adjourn it to September 15th?
Let's do that.
Okay.
So a motion to adjourn 74 White Street to September 15th, right? 15th, Alex?
Yes.
Yeah, second?
Second.
All in
All
favor?
in favor of adjourning White Street.
Adjourning White Street to
White Street
September
till
17th.
September.
Yeah, okay, thank
They're
you.
held up with
See you, Michelle.
county water.
Okay.
And then the only other item I have on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the June 2nd meeting.
Yes.
The board has had the opportunity to read them.
Yes, I think they're good. Motion to approve those minutes.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
I got to read them.
There we go. All right.
Great, so I have our next meeting as the August,
you.
sorry, it's July
I even
21st, and then
got
2
the
meetings
red
in
line
August.
on it.
Alex, I didn't hear the last part. 21st is our next meeting,
Yep,
yes?
and then it's, the next meetings are scheduled for August 4th and August 18th.
Correct. All right. Can I have a motion to close our meeting, please?
I'll move it. Close the
Second.
meeting.
All in favor? Thank you. In favor of closing the meeting? Thank you, ladies. All right.